I want to introduce President Linda Ubre.
Thank you, Rock. I can't tell you how honored and proud I am to be here with all of you today. I wanted to take this opportunity, hopefully you guys have all heard by now that as of Monday, Rock Carter is our permanent athletic director. So he deserves a hand. But I want to share with all of you and embarrass him a little bit. One of the biggest reasons why Rock got this job is because, as all of you hopefully know and he knows, that when I came last summer, I started talking about equity and inclusion and support of student success. And frankly, Rock gets it. And you guys are all the evidence of that. As he said, you're student athletes and emphasis on the students. But also what I really admire about Rock and the athletic team and what they've been talking about, particularly this year, is that if we're successful in the classroom and on campus, the teams will be successful. And it's about building that long-term success. And that's just something I truly, truly believe in. The other thing I'm going to share with all of you, I've now traveled 30,000 miles in the last 9 months on behalf of Whittier College. And all I'm going to say is when I first started, of course, I've heard, especially from athletic alums, why isn't the fill-in-the-blank team doing any better? And what I always share with them is we're changing the conversation because you guys and your teammates are on the court or in the field, on the field, sometimes in 115-degree heat in August, sometimes in humidity, sometimes in rain, being totally focused, doing what you're passionate about, and being in school, and some of you having to keep jobs. And frankly, I'm not doing that. So our job is to talk positively about our student athletes and what a great job you guys are all doing. So I wanted to share that with you as well. Is that that's the message that I'm saying externally, and already I've heard the language change about that as well. So again, I want to really, really congratulate everyone in the room. I'll be honest with you, I would have qualified for this lunch, but I didn't play a sport. I was pre-Title IX, do the math. So I can't imagine how you guys all do it, and how you guys all stay so focused and committed both to your athletics and to the things you do on campus, but more importantly to getting that degree, because that's what Division III athletics is all about. So thank you. Enjoy the strawberries that you stole from other tables. Grab these at our table before Rock gets a chance. No, but thank you for coming. I'm going to hand this back over to our athletic director. Thank you.
Before I introduce our speaker today, I do want to acknowledge, and you know, all the credit goes to you, the student athlete, and I do realize that in our recruiting process, you know, we always know the ones that kind of have a head start in where we want to get them, and everybody in this room probably displayed that in our recruiting of you. But I do want to acknowledge, as Linda pointed out, trying to get in the same, trying to align our vision the same. And we got a group of coaches here and a group of coaches that aren't here that are doing that as well, that are very interested, very concerned, and willing to help in trying to make Whittier College student athlete the code word or the main word. And I want those coaches to stand up. We got a couple coaches in the room. Support team, Andrea and Jacqueline, to stand up as well. You guys know how important they are for us as well. Very, very positive influences for our student athletes here at Whittier College. Our guest today, I've known Tim for quite some time. He wasn't necessarily a buddy of mine in college, because he's a lot older than me, and you'll notice that when he walks up here. But even though I was here when he was here. So those are old man jokes. But Tim and I do go back, and I remember the one thing about Tim, and that was that he was very, very bright, a great football player, but always carried himself as somebody who was good for the Whittier community. And I really mean that. We didn't pal around and stuff, but I remember he was one of those guys that everybody respected whether they knew him or didn't know him. And there was a reason for that, because he went on to do some great things. He graduated from Whittier in '87. He was, like many of you, he was a Dean's Honors List. He was a Pi Sigma Alpha, National Political Science Honor Society. He was an NCAA Postgraduate Scholarship Award winner, which is very difficult not only to be nominated for, but to receive. He also was a National Football Foundation Hall of Fame Presidential Scholar Athlete, and he was also the Scholar Athlete at the Whittier College End of the Year Awards Banquet. He's a member of the Orthogonian Society. He went on to law school, went to Loyola Marymount, and graduated magna cum laude. He was a member of a number of fraternities and societies there as well. He has been recognized and honored as the Southern California Super Lawyer by the Southern California Super Lawyers magazine and by Los Angeles magazine. He's also been recognized as the nation's top 1% by National Association of Distinguished Counsel. He is also part of the NFL Players Association Certified Contract Advisor, and I'll let him talk to you a little bit about some of his clients, and I know he has a couple boxing stories that I know he's told me. I don't know if you can tell him in this group, but it is interesting as he explained those things to me. But I do want to welcome our guest speaker today, Timothy Younger, class of '87.
I'd like to officially announce my retirement. I mean, when you hear about all of those things that you've done in your life, it really does give you some pause, and you get a chance to think about where it all started. And so, what I want to do this afternoon in just a few minutes is, first of all, congratulate all of you to be here to be a student here at Whittier College with a 3.5 GPA and to be an athlete here. It takes a lot of sacrifice. I'm sure of that. I know that. But to give you guys some perspective, it's been about 3.5 decades since I first stepped foot on this campus. And so that's about 6 presidents ago. They make movies about that era now, and they're called timepieces. It's been a while. And what I want to leave you with today in our talk is one particular theme, and that is, I'm sure all of you are wondering if you're preparing correctly or appropriately for your professional life. And I'm here to tell you that if you're sitting in this room, you are absolutely on the right track. You should have absolutely no doubt whatsoever about that. You are definitely making things happen. Because if you're here, what you've done is you've demonstrated to your professors and to the Whittier College community and to your family and friends that you're capable, you're able to multitask. And not everybody can do that in this particular age now. It means that you can manage your time efficiently, and you're not a one-trick pony. You're not someone who focuses just on academics and maybe doesn't have as much of a social life as really you should have at this time in your life. And it also means that you're not just focusing on your athletics and ignoring what you need to do to take care of business in the classroom. But most of all, it means that you're willing to sacrifice. And it means that you're willing to be a team player. And I mean that not just for those of you who play football or baseball or other team sports, but your individual sports as well. You cannot succeed as an athlete without being a team player, no matter what your sport is. But let me take you back a little bit to my experience here at Whittier College. And I will tell you that one of the things that I treasure most is, being here at Whittier, and I was the captain of the football team, and I played during the year that was the centennial celebration of Whittier College. And so we had the big homecoming game, and to have the stadium full that night was a very big thing. It didn't happen very often, but it was full that night. And we played Occidental, and we won, and it was just a very memorable event. But when I think about the game, and I think about what that really meant for me as I began to prepare for my life after Whittier, is I remember my teammates. Well, I remember the winning play, but I do remember my teammates. And I can tell you that looking back now, it was an incredibly talented group. And I don't necessarily mean on the football field. Now, we played against guys that went to the NFL, so we had to be pretty decent ball players ourselves. But I think about that, and some of my teammates went on to have great success. One was an oncologist, others ran their own businesses, some were managers of big businesses. Some of those teammates not only remained my friends, but became clients. And what I found in the years after Whittier College was that each of us continued to push each other a little bit. There was sort of that friendly competition. And there certainly was the ability for us to help each other at different times. So I would tell you, you're developing, or at least you have the opportunity to develop those lifelong friendships right now with your teammates. And you need to take advantage of the opportunities that you may not recognize that you have right now. But I can tell you, I walked the campus the same time that your athletic director did, and I walked the campus at the same time that your baseball coach did. And I'm going to ask Coach Rizzo to keep some of those stories to himself. But you have those opportunities. So when I left Whittier College, I don't know about some of you, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. I really didn't. I worked for a small uptown firm. I think it's still there, Bewley, Loss, Liebman and Miller. And I was just clerking, and some of the, I think Ernie Park, who may still have done some work for the college as of a few years ago, and was, a young lawyer at that time. But what I can tell you is that I had no idea what I wanted to do. So at the time, the head baseball coach and head football coach were the same guy, and that was Hugh Mendez. And Hugh was starting to go over to Finland for professional football in Europe. And so he had invited a couple of us to go with him to teach football and to play football in Finland. And I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do that. So I thought about the law, and I thought about whether that was something I wanted to do. So I literally applied to one law school on the last day I could apply to a law school. And I applied to Loyola only because 4 of the lawyers at Bewley, Loss, Liebman and Miller were from Loyola. And so that's how I ended up at law school. So if you think you don't have a plan all perfectly laid out for you, you shouldn't be overly concerned. So I went to Loyola, and then I found myself surrounded by a bunch of Ivy Leaguers, and I ended up finishing Loyola at the top of my class. Okay, and that was exciting. And at the time that we had to start interviewing for jobs, I had no clue. I come from a family of 8. I was the 6th of 8 children. I wouldn't have known who any of these large law firms were, so I applied to one law firm. And it was one of the largest law firms in the world, and they agreed to my interview. And as I took the interview on a particular day, and as I was taking the interview with the partners of that firm, they saw me looking at my watch. And so we kept going with the interview, and finally they asked me, well, why do you keep looking at your watch? And I said, well, I'm hoping we can conclude this interview because in an hour and a half I have to deliver the eulogy of my father. And they were dumbfounded. And I said, listen, my dad dropped me off the corner here at Whittier College, a few years back, and he had a vision for what he wanted me to be. And he had passed, and he didn't have an opportunity to see all of that come to fruition. There was no way I was going to miss that interview, and there was no way I was going to miss his delivering his eulogy. I got the job. Again, I would not recommend that as a way to pursue your professional career. But what I'm trying to leave you with is, as I was in that law firm and we were working for some extremely large companies on some extremely complicated cases, the first partner that I worked for ended up being the Secretary of State for a short period of time. And I can tell you this. I looked around that law firm and I saw who was there and where they came from, and there I was, from Whittier College. I belonged there. And I'm telling you, if I belonged there, no matter what you do in your life, you will belong as well, okay? You're putting in your time, you're doing what you need to do, you are preparing. And you're gonna need to call upon your athletic experiences. I don't know about some of you, but I will tell you, I remember the defeats a whole lot more than I remember the victories. Because it's in your defeats that you learn the most. What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? How did I not prepare as well? The victories are fun, and they're important too because they're affirmations of all your hard work. But you're going to find yourselves calling upon those experiences. So I will tell you now, whether it's negotiating with an NFL team, whether it's doing endorsements for a champion boxer, whether it's preparing for a trial against some of the most established law firms in the world, it's always the same. It's always the same. It's prepare, it's planning, and it's execution. And isn't that exactly what your coaches teach you every day? Think about it. You hear those words now. You need to prepare, we need to plan, and we need to execute. And it's those lessons that if you're resourceful enough, you're going to carry those throughout your professional career, whatever that might be. But I will promise you, it's not going to always be easy. I guarantee you're going to have some hard times, and the road is never smoothly paved. But whether you have been on the field, whether you've been on the court, whether you've been in the pool or you've been on the track, you've all had that opportunity to face adversity. And you have, being here, you've demonstrated that you can handle it. And I'm telling you, more than anything else out there in the world today, having the confidence that you can overcome is almost important as anything else right now. I can tell you that if I can accomplish what I've accomplished in my career, certainly with a lot more to do, you can too. We literally come from the same classrooms. And there's a number of people. I told Rock, he must have been scraping the bottom of the barrel to ask me to be here today, because I can think of lots of folks during my era who probably would be much more qualified to come and speak to you today. So you're not alone. You're in a great place. You're learning what you need to learn. And I would also tell you this. Don't be afraid to have a little fun. You don't need to be serious all the time. Life will get serious enough for you. I promise you, I had a little fun here, okay? I will admit that on some occasions I probably had too much fun here. But that's okay too, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'll tell you right now, it's that entire experience. You take all of that experience with you when you leave the school. And so I want you to be confident, I want you to be proud of who you are and what you've done. I will tell you that I'm proud of a lot of things that I've done. Rock indicated that I do work with professional athletes. I've seen some of them perform at the highest of stages, at Super Bowls, at championship boxing settings, and I negotiated contracts that at the time were the largest in NFL history. All of that is fantastic, folks. All of that is fine. But really, I will tell you that some of the things I'm most proud of are the things that I did when I was a student like you, sitting where you are. Because those are the things that really last forever. You know, when it all is said and done, I will tell you that I can count on my hand the number of true friends that I have, and most of them are also poets. So I'm very happy to be here. I want to congratulate all of you for everything I want to wish you the very best of luck, especially to the seniors that are getting ready to move on. Congratulations, thank you very much.